What's the last piece of media or book that you read that you'd recommend?
So I have books on politics and books on cooking. I mean, that's, but you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to go back a little bit and I'm going to say The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. Really formative piece about the impact of social media on our mental well-being and particularly on women. And I think was sort of the scholarly work that resulted in a lot of the smartphone bans on school, like in schools, more so in
Hmm.
Canada maybe than in the United States, but um, something that highlights in some cases, the unforetold or unforeseen dangers of technology on society. And yeah, there's a lot of negative sort of things that have come out. Not that I think any of those platforms intended, but it's just what happens. So I'm going to say, yeah, thinking about the cautionary use of technology and the impact on our society, and The Anxious Generation is a great read to start thinking about that problem and what we can do in our systems to avoid negative societal outcomes in the future.
Yeah, I think that there's this quote from Scott Galloway that comes to mind that any system or anything that reaches scale has negative externalities. And when you think about social media and it starts out as a little photo sharing or some messaging back and forth, it's one thing. But when it reaches massive scale, it starts to become one of those things with negative externalities. And what you're talking about with kids being exposed to environments that are very unhealthy and toxic at times, and they're not equipped for it. And then they have parents and or older siblings that didn't grow up with it. I don't feel fully equipped to understand how to advise somebody on social media. I'm muddling through it myself. So that's a really thoughtful recommendation, Carey. Thank you for that.
And since you erased Scott Galloway, I mean, the first one in my pile is Notes on Being a Man, but I haven't gotten around to reading it yet. I just put it in the queue like a week ago. So, and then I'm going
So
to throw in a cooking one. I'm going to say Wood, Fire, and Smoke by Michael Smith. So there's a chef who runs a restaurant in Prince Edward Island, quite well renowned, and I think the barbecuers of the southern U.S. and he could share a lot of tips back and forth. But if you want some thought leadership on Canadian barbecuing, Wood, Fire, and Smoke by Michael Smith. So
well, that's a more delicious and a little bit lighter of a topic. When is the right time to visit if you're a weak Southern boy at this point? I lived in the Midwest for 3 decades plus, and then moved down here to Texas, and I've lost my taste for cold. When should I come north to try out this restaurant?
yeah, where I grew up, we had this saying that we had 10 months of winter and 2 months of bad snowmobiling. So the 2 months of bad snowmobiling were July and August. So they're usually safe, but July is the only month that I have not seen snow, like in some part of Canada that I was physically in. All the other months, I have like there has been snow on the ground under my boots at some point during them. So
Well,
July
maybe.
is my safest recommendation for you.
All right. Well, thanks for indulging me on my question on what you're reading, what you're watching, and we'll let you get back to your day. Carey, appreciate you, man. Thank you very much.
Been a pleasure. Thank you.